when someone mentions my name in conversation, I never want their first instinct to be, or their first thought to be, she's blank's girlfriend. Oh, she's blank's wife. I want to be my own person. I want to have my own empire. I want people to know me as me, and I want people to know me as my accomplishments instead of being attached to someone else. And I just think it's so important for women to have money. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me again. I am Mahua. As you guys know, I love talking about money and I love helping you guys become more financially independent and afford to live in New York City. I already made a what I spend in a week in New York City and how I afford to live in New York City as a 23-year-old. So if you want to catch up on those videos, you are so welcome to do so. I'll link them right here. I also think it's so important for women to be financially independent. I am from Bangladesh, that is in South Asia, where a lot of women are not taught to be financially independent. It's very taboo. That is why there's so many mothers and wives that are stuck in unhealthy and toxic relationships because they have never learned about money. All of their assets are tied to their husbands. And I just think it's so important to teach other young girls about money so that they don't feel like they're stuck. They can feel like they can have their own identity and they can live their own lives freely. And I think that even now in this generation, even in America, there are so many girls and even males who are unaware of money because we aren't taught that in school, and it's just so freaking important. I make so much art on just financial independence, especially for women. I have all of them like hanging up in my apartment, as you can see in the background. I also think financial independence is so important because when someone mentions my name in conversation, I never want their first instinct to be, or their first thought to be, oh, she's blank's girlfriend. Oh, she's blank's wife. I want to be my own person. I want to have my own empire. I want people to know me as me, and I want people to know me as my accomplishments instead of being attached to someone else. And I just think it's so important for women to have money. So this is why I'm making this video. On top of that, it's obviously so hard to live in New York, and I just want to give you my tricks and tips. Oh, I should have put that first. I just want to give you my tips and tricks. I live a pretty frugal lifestyle, so I just want to share the wealth, you know. I just want to give you all of the hidden secrets. I also have a podcast that I have with my partner, and we talk about a lot of South Asian experiences, but we just came on with an episode on how to be financially independent in a South Asian household and life in general. So if you want to check that out, be my guest, and please like and subscribe. It's amazing that people are actually supporting me and watching me now. It's just crazy how this dream of mine is coming true when I didn't even know this was a dream, you know? New York is extremely expensive to live in. It is not affordable for many people, and a lot of people are barely scraping by. And I just want to make it more accessible for you guys. And I also want to give a disclaimer. I know I am very privileged. I live by myself. If I wanted to be more frugal, I could have lived with a roommate. I know I am a little bit more privileged talking from my experience, but I hope it still helps because, as you guys know, I always talk about this. I am a child of an immigrant, so I like to say that I'm very frugal. I feel very guilty when I spend money on myself because my parents have always taught me not to spend money, and growing up in a not so rich family, I've always been taught to save my money and feel very guilty when I spend it on luxuries and on myself. I do live in a very frugal way. I don't live lavishly. I also don't get any money from my parents. I support myself. So I just want to put that out there. Since I'm an artist and a small business owner and my student teaching that I do does not pay me anything, it is very hard for me to keep track of my expenses every single month because it's unpredictable. I get a different amount of money every single month, so it's very hard. But if you have a fixed amount that you get every single month, that's perfect, and it makes things so much easier for you. The first thing that I do is list out all of my fixed expenses for the month, which includes rent, groceries for the most part don't really change too much, bills, my school that I have to pay for, my Metro card, my subscriptions, those all stay same for the most part. And I know that those things are the top priority and I need to pay for that no matter what. After all of those things are listed out, I can figure out how much I need to budget out for my personal life stuff. I personally have been using this new app called Mint. I am not being sponsored by Mint. It is free. I just downloaded it recently because I wanted to keep track of my expenses and learn how to budget better. But Mint is a beautiful app that literally has a pie chart of all of your expenses. You connect it to all of your debit cards, your credit cards, all of your accounts, and it really breaks down everything that you have. I personally love Mint, but I also think that writing it down on an Excel sheet and making it more personal to you is also really great. I think I might start doing that as well because you get to see the personal spending habits that you have. But I recommend Mint if you want something quick and easy and if you don't have time to just manually write down every single thing. And it shows you how much money you spend towards business, how much money you spend towards dining out, how much money you spend towards bills. I learned that my spending habit is pretty bad. I spend a lot on my business, which is fine. It comes back to me as profit, but it really shows you and it makes you feel like, dang, like I spent all that money, someone took my credit card. And every single month, I feel like your priorities change. So obviously you have your fixed expenses, but one month you might need to spend a lot more money paying off school, paying off your debt, paying off so many different things, and you're gonna have less money to spend on personal things, on things for enjoyment, things for your friends. It really just changes. So for example, like this month, I had to really spend a lot of money paying off my credit card bills and paying off school, and I didn't have too much money left over to just spend on myself. So it really varies every single month, and I feel like you shouldn't feel too bad about it. It's really important to organize the necessities versus the wants. The necessities are school, rent, bills, groceries, and the wants are your things that you don't really need to survive with. And something really interesting that my partner said is that a lot of people shop, a lot of people buy things because they want to impress other people, they want to impress social media, they want to flex. But at the end of the day, are you feeding your ego or are you feeding your soul? It's really important to find that differentiation. If you want to listen to our podcast, we did talk about that. I also want to make a disclaimer. It is so hard for some people to budget and save up money. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So again, this is a privilege. If you do have the ability to just save up for a vacation, save up for anything in general, it is a privilege, even if it is a smaller privilege. A lot of people don't have that. Something else that is very useful is if you have a direct deposit, it's important that some of your money goes straight to your savings, so that way when it comes to your checking account, you don't have to manually take out a certain percentage and put it into savings. If it's already in your savings, it's kind of like there already, and you can just delegate the whole month around the money that you already have in your checkings, and it doesn't feel like you're just using up all the money in your checkings, because that's what happens sometimes. That's life, and you have nothing to put into your savings, you know? Living in New York is great, especially in the city, because you don't need a car. You have public transportation. When I was living in Long Island, I had a car, so you have to worry about the monthly expenses with that, which is gas and mortgage and all of that. But it's great living in the boroughs now because I don't have to worry about a car. I don't have to worry about any of that. And I think a lot of people use Ubers just because subways aren't safe and they just want that quick accessibility. But I personally use the subway all the time because it's just so cheap. The Ubers and the Lyfts really just add up so much money, and we think it's such a small expense. We're lazy, we just want to use that Uber or that Lyft. But I'm telling you, at the end of the month, you have hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you could have just saved. Omni, just swipe your phone, you get right in. It's basically the same thing as a weekly pass, you just don't have to use a swipe anymore. Something else that I've been really doing and I've been really feeling, the vibe is different. I used to never carry cash with me because I just don't like a heavy wallet, and I personally never liked carrying extra stuff. I just use my card. But I've been carrying cash with me, and it really makes you feel like you want to spend money less, because I guess seeing the money literally depleting out of your wallet makes you feel like, oh shit, like I should save money now, you know? I guess the tangible dollar makes you feel like you have to keep it around more, you know? But whereas if you're using a credit card or a debit card, you don't see the money, so it's fine to use it. A lot of people just use their Apple Pay. They just do it really quickly because it's not real money, even though it is, it's your money. Using cash is so much better, especially if you live in New York. There's so many vendors, there's so many street people that you want to buy from, but you can't because they don't accept card. So it's just another tip if you're living in the city. It just really helps you support small businesses and just move around the city more slickly. Something else that I've been really good on is splurging only about once a week on joyful activities. Obviously, if you have the privilege to do it more, do that. But I think restraining yourself and having that discipline and not just spending money whenever you want and actually being okay with just that one day of joy is something that's really hard to do, but very beneficial. Like if I go to a museum one day and spend a lot of money on myself because I deserve it, that's great. Everyone should have that. But if you continuously do that every single day, all of your money is gone and you're not gonna feel like you're actually deserving it anymore. And it's just so much more beneficial to feel that level of serotonin, that level of dopamine for that one day, and then look forward to it again the next week, and just do it like that instead of constantly doing it over and over. I have this constant struggle where I feel like I deserve my joy, I deserve my relaxation, I deserve my self-care, but then since I'm a child of an immigrant, I don't feel like I deserve it and I feel guilty. So I try my best to not feel guilty about spending money anymore because I know that I worked really hard for it. So I think that's a really, really big tip. Don't spend in a stupid way. Spend on things that are worthwhile and make you feel better. Don't spend for other people. Don't spend to get clout. Something else that's kind of underrated, but I feel like a lot of people might be doing it. I'm not sure. I share my best friend's Netflix account, and you might think, oh my god, $12 a month is kind of stupid because it's only $12 a month. But I'm telling you, these subscriptions, these Netflix accounts, these different bills really just add up so much money. Like I have Spotify, I pay for my Google storage, I pay for so many different things, and it's just like $2-3 for each thing, but it really adds up and you're like, what the hell, where did my money go? So if you do have the chance to, I feel like, honestly, I think Netflix is actually trying to delete this feature, but while you can, please share your friends' Netflix account. I also share my best friend's Disney Plus account, and it's just so much better, you know? Something else that has really helped me save money, and I have so much discipline because of this, is eating out only once a week. And I try my best to do this for the most part. If you guys eat out more than once a week and you're Uber eating constantly, door dashing constantly, it's great. I have those lazy days where I don't feel like making any food and I'm just really hungry and I just want a craving, right? And that's fine. But if you're constantly doing it, it just is so much money. Like one DoorDash order is literally like $20 plus $10 tax, plus $5 delivery fee, plus this, plus that, and it just adds up so much money. So if you do have the chance, please just go grocery shopping every single week. Have a schedule with that. You save so much money by just making food and buying healthy food that you know is beneficial for your body. And it's just fun to cook now. I don't know if you guys vibe, but cooking is a lot of fun when you have a good podcast or you have good music on. You're just vibing with the measurements and you're just pouring in the cups of different sauces. Perfect day for me. So somewhere else that I save money on is only shopping from secondhand stores. So I only thrift, I only buy from stores that have used clothing, and I used to shop from fast fashion before, and that's fine because fast fashion for the most part is affordable, and a lot of people that don't have that much money, a lot of college students buy from Shein, buy from Fashion Nova because it is a lot cheaper than other stores, and that is fine. But I personally think that buying from thrift stores instead of the high-end stores like Amazon and big billion-dollar businesses is just so much beneficial for not only your bank account, but just for the planet as well. And it also helps you find your own style without going for trends and whatnot, but that's a whole nother story. Please buy from thrift stores, especially for New York. You're in the hub of the best thrift stores in the country probably. I don't know, I just made up that statistic. There are so many options in New York to thrift. If you guys want to watch my thrifting videos, I have so many of those. Check that out. You're gonna find gems. Please just buy from your thrift stores. Something else that a lot of people actually don't follow is that the first thing that they do when they get an apartment is get a TV, which is fine. The TV is like the centerpiece in your apartment. And I think it's such a good thing to have to relax and cool down when you come home from work. The best thing that I did, well actually my best friend got it for me for my birthday, she got me a projector. So a projector is great because I can literally just connect my laptop and I can just put on a movie or a show onto my wall, and it saves me that money because first of all, I didn't pay for a TV or the projector, and second of all, I don't have to pay for cable. It's just so much better because I can just move the projector whenever I want, and I can put anything on that wall if I want, you know? And it's just such a better option for me personally, I think, because it's just cheaper and more accessible. Something else that I think is very underrated is just going to the library instead of buying books. I personally read a lot, and a lot of people just buy books and they never even read it because they don't have the time to. So again, this is kind of like a self-discipline thing. A lot of people just spend money because they have it, or they don't have it. They just spend it anyway using a credit card. And it's just so much better for the environment to just reuse, go to the library, get something, return it, and just make the world go round. Something that is really important but also really scary, especially if you were never taught about money. I always was scared of credit cards because we were always taught that credit cards means that you're gonna go in debt, especially if you can't pay for it. And there's just a lot of problems with it. So I never wanted to get a credit card, but luckily my dad told me from a very young age to get a credit card because it helps build your reliability, it helps build your credit. And when I moved out at 23, I didn't have anyone co-sign my lease because I was able to fend for myself and have good credit to fall back on. So I didn't need anyone with good credit to lean back on if anything did happen, you know? And it's just so important for women and males to get credit cards, to have things that are attached to their own name, have their own assets, have their own accounts, because it just helps you build your own autonomy with your identity and with yourself. Please get a credit card. If you can, get it in high school if you're watching this. Get it in early college. And it's just so important to start earlier rather than later because it helps you build that credit and have the means to take out loans in the future, take out anything that you want in the future, because it builds that accountability. With that being said, don't be dumb when you use a credit card. I've mentioned this before, but since you do have a credit card, it is kind of like fake money because you don't see it. Please only spend the amount that you are able to spend every single month. If you don't have $5,000 spend on your credit card every single month, then don't do it because you're not going to be able to pay it back and it's going to just keep you in debt forever and you're never going to get out of it. It's really hard to get out of that. So please spend wisely. Something that I had to do from high school when I got a credit card is literally just spend like $20 a month and just pay it back every single month. It's literally just spending that small amount every single month, building that good credit, and it's so important. Especially now, I love using a credit card and paying it back on time because I can get travel points and it's really beneficial. I can also get cash back where I can use that money on other things, and it's kind of like a good reward system for all the money that you spend and paying it back on time. With that being said, it's also really important to set up auto payments. Since I have a few cards and I have so many bills to take care of every single month, I just have a lot of expenses every single month. It's hard to keep track of that all the time because there's so many dates. It's important to set up auto payments so that even if you do forget to pay something, it's automatically going to go through and you don't have to worry about it, you know? And it's so important to pay everything back on time so that it prevents you from making mistakes and being in a really dark hole. Really dark and deep hole. Something else that I want to add on top of that I didn't do personally because I wanted to have my own space for once, have my own peace for once, and just have the space to think about my own thoughts and just grow my business and myself, is to get a roommate in New York City. The rent here is extreme. It is so hard to find a place without a roommate, especially if you're a student, especially if you have a job that isn't paying too much, and I really recommend it to anyone that is struggling to pay the full amount of rent. I hope you guys liked my tips and tricks. It is very basic, but a lot of people forget how hard it is to live here, and a lot of people forget to actually save money because they are in the groove of just spending and spending. So again, I don't want to scare you into not moving here. New York is a beautiful place to live in, but the lifestyle here is very extreme. The expenses are very extreme, and I just want to give you the rundown of how to afford living here, especially for a student if you're working a low minimum wage job. And I just want to make things a little bit more realistic for you, you know? So I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe. Please follow me on my Instagram. It's at LabyrinthAv. I also made all of this art behind me, as well as this pillow and all of my financially literate, financially independent artwork that I showed you guys before. You can find it on labyrinthav.com. And I also have a podcast with my partner where we talk about South Asian experiences. It's called Difficult-ish. Please rate us. It really helps us bring more eyes on our podcast and just bring more representation to South Asian. And yeah, please let me know what else you guys want to watch. I love making these videos and I really hope it helped. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.